Hi, Mark McCoy here with Dave Tubbs. Dave?
Hey, Mark.
Dave's a customer of ours. We installed a 19.8 kilowatt solar system at the Tubbs Brothers dealership. And what you see behind us here is the arrays. We have 3 setups with 33 panels each, and each panel is 200 watts, and we end up with a 19.8 kilowatt system. We have, this is fed from 3 Sunny Boy inverters that are located inside. It's a grid-tied system, and it's all connected with DTE, and it's a very productive system, and we'll show you those parts. Okay, we're still at the Tubbs Brothers. We're up by where we installed the inverters, and what we have up here is 3 Sunny Boy SB7000 US models, and we're feeding from them solar panels out in the field. If you remember from the shot out in the field, we had 3 arrays with 33 panels each. Each one of those come back in to the system here. And then they go back out, then they go into each one of the inverters, and we have an input to the inverters.
So Mark, let me interject. So that's DC current coming in?
Yes, sir.
And then these change it into alternating current?
That's correct. So what we have is we have a high voltage DC coming in, and then we have it coming from each one of those arrays outside, breaking down into here, going to each one of these inverters into a high voltage DC, and then they convert these individual inverters, convert the DC into AC, and then we feed that back into what we call a combiner panel right here. And then we combine the AC loads at that point right there. But these individual inverters, though, these are very nice inverters. They have a knock function. You knock on it, and it comes to life there, and it'll give us like an E total for the day. It'll give us a grid tied what our voltages are right now, and we have a nice steady voltage. This is an important one. It tells you how much CO2 is saved, so our carbon footprint so far. And then this screen right here talks about how many watts they're producing, and right now they're producing 5,000 watts, which is very impressive at about 360 something volts. Here's the total kilowatt production, and then once again we got to the day production. Let's go back to that one where it shows the kilowatts. We just tap on this case and it scrolls the screens. Right here we got 4970 watts at 326 volts, so that's really impressive.
Now Mark, would each one of these separate panels be producing different amounts of power?
Well, they should be relatively close because it's a very engineered, balanced system. And so let's just take a look at another inverter, and we can check that right now. So our carbon footprint is relatively the same, within a pound or two of the other inverter. And then right now it's at 4994, so within a couple watts, so it's almost identical, the input.
So does this change when the cloud cover comes over and different weather conditions? Yeah,
it does. And the snow can be a problem, overcast can be a problem, fog can be a problem, but it's actually still pretty productive. And even in the snow, we still will produce with a minimum of 3 to 6 inches of snow. They'll still be productive. And on foggy days, it's still also very productive.
So even on a cloudy day, you're still going to produce
something, yeah. But obviously, like a beautiful day like today, we're putting out a lot of output. We're producing almost 3/4 capacity right now, and for this time of year in November, it's very good.
Now those are big metal grids out there holding the solar panels. What if we have lightning storms? And I mean, if it hit that out there, could it come in and backfeed into my building here?
Well, it could, and it's a possibility. But if you want to come over here, I'll show you what we do to try to suppress that. We use these items right here, these lightning arresters, to hopefully. I think if we take a direct hit, we're probably in trouble. But if we did like some kind of transient over our system, it'll come in through our box here, through these conduits into these SMA disconnects, and then the lightning arrestor it'll divert it into there, and that'll hopefully protect our system. And that's kind of how we're trying to protect the inverters from some type of a surge or a lightning event is actually what they're there for.
Okay, and are those switches there?
Yeah, these are the actual system. Well, this is actually an inverter disconnect. This is an AC-DC combination disconnect, and we can actually shut the system if we wanted to service just this individual inverter. We could turn it off here, or we could go over to our combiner panel, and this would disconnect. That's kind of hard to see from that angle, but anyways, inside here we have these breakers that we can turn off the AC output from these individual breakers here with a main, And then we have one other thing outside that we can show you. This is a grid-tied system, and we'll show you how we connect it to the grid. Hey, hi. We're in the collision shop where we have that system connected to, and we just wanted to show the interior with this lighting that's going on. When we were upstairs, we were looking at them inverters, and we were seeing that each one was inputting about 5,000 watts coming back from the solar field. And we did the math on it, and it was about 72 amps at 208. And this has a three-phase power in here, 208, and that was at 72 amps. So we're pretty much running this whole facility right now off that solar field. In addition to the lighting that we have here, we have a paint booth, and we have a sprayer area, and we have a compressor, and we're pretty much handling the entire load here right now. So earlier we were out in the field and I showed you the solar panels, and those solar panels, those 3 different arrays with 33 panels each with a total of 99 panels that gave us a 19.8 kilowatt system. I showed you upstairs how that fed into the inverters, and then the inverters changed that from the DC to the AC, and I showed it how it went to a combiner panel. And from that combiner panel it comes down to our service, because this is a grid-tied system, and what we mean by that is that we're connected to the Detroit Edison lines, and we pump back any overproduction that we have. So everything that we produce, we get paid for, and then we get to keep that electricity as well. And then anything that we overproduce and we don't use, we put back into the grid for Edison for other customers to use. And that's what they call net metering. And so what we have here though is a system disconnect, and this system disconnect here turns off the inverters and the entire AC side of it. And from here, and you can see we have the pipe going up, that goes up to that combiner panel that we had upstairs. Out of this system disconnect, we go into a meter. As you can see by this meter, it's spinning pretty good. We got very high production going today. And as a matter of fact, since we had this going on, we've produced about 800 kilowatt hours, which is pretty awesome. And you can see the meters going pretty quick here. This is hooked up and running right now. And this is the path we take though when we backfeed it into the system. We come from the inverters to that combiner panel to the system disconnect to the meter, and then we pump it back into the CT cabinet that's actually fed behind Dave here into this transformer right here. And then that's the circle of electricity here back into Detroit Edison, back into the power lines. So there you have it. This is the Tubbs Brothers Solar System, Sandusky, Michigan.